Is Jason Crow engaging in seditious treason?
Well, if so, does that mean Trump will eventually give him a pardon? Jeff laughed at that one.
It's going to be a good hour. It's going to be a good one.
I'd love to see your face crack when I did that
All
one.
of the goodwill built up is about to just...
I know.
Just whatever you think is happening in the show, just wait.
Yeah, just wait.
Because
it's like Colorado weather. Something will change.
It'll change.
Yeah.
Bill and I lamenting the home prices in Denver dropping. We came together to talk about the changes. Now it's about to throw down.
Yeah, now it'll get interesting. This will be fun.
This video was crazy. This was put together. You may recognize a voice in here. There's a whole bunch of them. But one of them's Jason Crow.
I didn't recognize him without his martini glass. I'm just saying. Shout out to those of you that know about social media.
That one little graphic I made of his dating profile, because he is single.
Yeah, that is great.
Has gone all over the place.
Oh, yeah, that is wonderful. It's fantastic.
All right, here's a video that a bunch of Dem lawmakers put out.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
What are they talking about? Enormous pressure and stress. Trust is at risk. The administration pitting uniformed military and intelligence professionals against American citizens. Our homeland, a threat to the Constitution, and illegal orders? What is going on?
Okay, this may be the one time in which we agree. Yeah, what the hell was that? We may come to different conclusions later on in the hour, but yeah, what the hell was that?
And I've always said, like, if the National Guard is going into cities and, like, kicking down doors and imprisoning American citizens and violating their constitutional rights, yes, I would stand against that. But you don't have that happening. And so this is a bizarre video that seems, in my mind, to call for treason, to stand against the orders of the President of the United States because you politically disagree with them. Goodness. And Jason Crow taking part in it. It's a shame. When we come back from News and Comment with Blake Olson, I'll tell you what George Brockler had to say about this. He was fired up on X last night. All right, now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
I don't.
Hey, good Wednesday morning on the Jeff and Billy Show. 38 and mostly sunny in Denver, expecting a high of 61 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, an American delegation is set for meetings in Ukraine today after the country said at least 20 people were killed in an overnight Russian missile and drone attack. The bill calling for the release of all Epstein files will soon be headed to DJT's desk.
On Tuesday, the Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer successfully passed unanimous consent, meaning the bill will automatically pass once it's delivered to the Senate from the House. Republican Senate Majority Leader John Thune tells CNN that's expected to happen today. The House passed the measure nearly unanimously by a vote of 427 to 1 Tuesday. President Trump has said he will sign the measure once it reaches his desk. I'm Scott Carr in Washington.
47 will...
You do got to give like a little bit of props to the guy that voted no, just because he knows it's going to pass, right? Like it's so clear it's going to pass. This thing's going to get out there. And part of him is just like I feel like it's just the pure contrarian. Like I would see that pop up with Bill.
Absolutely.
I would be the one that would vote no on a lot of things. This one would be difficult, though. The idea that, no, we shouldn't see this list. There are a whole bunch of other stuff I vote no on, but this is tough.
It's so clear we are. Right. And you're the one guy in the entire nation that's just kind of like, oh, can't wait to watch my social media feed. Click this off.
In this case, though, how does it help him? How would this one help? I don't understand. Like Bill said.
What's the messaging? You go back to the constituents.
Quit being reasonable. There's nothing reasonable in the no vote. It's just
name recognition. Jeez.
I mean, there's part of me that looks at this and is just like, it's so unanimous, right? It's like, let's take a vote on whether or not America is a good country, right? I think that would have more no votes than this one. So you end up with something that's like peak unanimous. Like the entire nation's political establishment's going to stand on this one issue, except one guy. Except the one guy is just
strong and proud. He's his own man.
I don't know. It's just
I'm confused. It's this whole everything that's going on now. We are in a mad world. We really are. It's out of control. 47 will deliver remarks at the U.S. Saudi Investment Forum this afternoon. Elon and NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, who I think I'm pronouncing his name right, are also set to join a discussion on artificial intelligence at the forum. The list of other attendees include CEOs from Chevron, Palantir, Cisco, Pfizer, and more. 2 Muslim groups are being designated as foreign terrorist organizations by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. The governor signed the proclamation Tuesday targeting the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations. And Abbott claims the group's leaders, are trying to forcibly impose Sharia law in Texas. Good for him. Profit estimates for the year are being cut back by Target, with the retailer warning of a slower holiday season as customers look to stretch their budgets. A driver has been arrested after a crash that injured a CDOT worker. CSP trooper Sherry Mendez says the crash is a stark reminder that, especially during Crash Responder Safety Week, which is this week, for drivers to slow down, move over, and stay alert.
We want everybody who's doing their job to come home at the end of the day.
CSP says the crash happened Tuesday morning on I-70 near the Strasburg exit. A pickup drove onto the shoulder and hit a CDOT employee who was repairing a guardrail. The 58-year-old man was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. No further updates have been released. The driver ran from the scene of the crash and was arrested later in the day. Doesn't matter where you are driving in this state, around the metro area, slow it down. Please slow it down. People can laugh at Candace all they want, and they can rip her and ridicule her, but she's investigating, and the people are helping her. People on social media and X and on the internet. They're helping her find evidence as she tries to find the truth about Charlie's assassination. The artist known as Jess, I like this dude on X, if you can get around the F-bombs, breaks down one of the latest findings.
Candace is just collecting up all the evidence from all over and putting it all together. The Egyptian planes. This one's kind of complicated, so I'm going to break it down for you. A couple weeks ago, somebody noticed and sent into her that an Egyptian military plane had been following Charlie Kirk around to different places, different locations around the United States. Charlie Kirk would show up to that city, so would that Egyptian military plane. All planes are tracked. This is all public information, tail numbers, where you're from, where you're going. Candace has now accumulated 73 crossovers between Charlie Kirk and this Egyptian military plane, including 9/10 in Utah, his assassination. Here's where it gets good. That plane had brought in 10
Why were Egyptian military planes always around Charlie?
Wait, why are they around the United States? Can we ask that question?
Yes, absolutely.
Come on,
73 times.
Blake,
Hey,
seriously?
hey,
You
I'm
think-
just
you think-
asking.
Oh,
like
come
he
on.
said, it's not 1963. It's not. I don't know if it's true, if it's untrue. Get your tinfoil hats out. I have
That's
no
what I
idea.
think. I think this is a lot of tinfoil hats. But come on.
Dude.
Can we just roll back and maybe ask the question, why would an Egyptian military plane even be allowed to fly around the United States?
I don't know. Maybe Egyptians aren't on the plane.
Well, other question I would have is how many other planes have similar crosses over with
Exactly. See, that's what I want to know.
The issue for
too.
me is this: is I believe that she is connecting two dots that don't necessarily have any congruence, and that idea being this is like the idea of, hey, I went and got a vaccine, and the next day had a heart attack.
Yes.
We have no idea what your
gosh,
physical.
You're gonna bring all that.
I understand
in?
it. No, but what I'm saying is we're not talking about
Yes, it
anything as
was
far
because
as
of the vaccine.
comorbidity or anything else beforehand. Yeah, but you have no idea, and so it's the conclusion that because one thing happened and then one thing happened, they're obviously connected. That's the logical fallacy that Candace is operating under here. Is she's saying because I see these two things, they're obviously connected. She needs to provide a connection. She can't just say two things occurred and now there's a connection.
Can
That's
we
her problem.
just get back to the basics of Egyptian military planes flying around the United States? I can't find anything on that.
I can't get
There's
I
no
can't get past
articles about
that.
We had one Chinese balloon float over the United States. The entire country flipped out. And Candace Owens is saying 73 times an Egyptian
73
military
times.
plane?
I know. Believe me.
Come on.
Okay, so the next portion of that is that they rented 5 cars, okay? And there were 10 military members involved on the plane.
How do we know this?
That is a great question.
Yeah, because I'm just curious. Do we know the military members use their military ID to rent the cars?
Do
we know we have it from the tickets? Because I have a question as to. But again, and here's the idea:
I'm right there
if
with
it's
you.
if it's an Egyptian military plane, how do we get the manifests? Again, I get questions about who's doing this research because there are some things that I got a question about how an individual gets the manifest of a military plane that is not part of the U.S. Chances are, if I had to put dollars to donuts, they made it up. That would be my guess. Oh,
okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
because
they
how
just-
would you get it? How would you get the access to that? Right, because it makes a much more sexy story to say this happened and I can prove this than to drop the proof. Because part of what you would then release would be the manifest.
So if they rented 5 cars and some of the cars were on campus or near campus, if they find that out, what's going to go through your mind then? I'm asking myself this.
Almost nothing, honestly.
Okay.
Because again, I see no causal relationship. Again, I think these are people that are trying to connect spider webs. and you need to show me, because I guess I could probably find a hell of a lot of cars that were rented on a day Charlie Kirk was going to be at University of Utah that are then going to go there. There are a whole bunch of people. We had someone that came into the studio recently who was on their way in the car that they had rented that morning to get to the event, but they were running late, and Charlie was shot before they got there. Now, they're not anything nefarious. However, they would tick the boxes. They would fly in, they would have rented a car, and they would have been going to University of Utah. They would have clicked all those boxes. So that's why I think that she's connecting spider webs. She's looking for shadows and trying to see them. It's like when Art Bell used to talk about the shadow people.
Yes,
there's some things when you age, there's some issues on your periphery that create some wiggles and shadows, and that has to do with how your eyes age. Yet on Art Bell, we've discovered the shadow people, and only the people of a certain age can see them. Yeah, that's not true.
I'll keep you updated.
Please do.
I'm still wondering if Candace Owens is saying that the Egyptian military is flying all over the United States, how that isn't a story in itself.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That doesn't exist anywhere.
That is a
we
story,
had one
right?
balloon float across the entire... We all went out and looked to see if we could see it. The whole nation flipped out, but apparently 73 Egyptian military Air Force planes are just flying around our country.
Anything and everything is possible. I believe
Blake,
everything
come on.
now. I believe everything. Everything.
Blake, there's a spiritual gift of discernment. So don't believe everything.
I can see it in people. I can hear it in them. I promise you. Nuggets in New Orleans tonight. 36 in Centennial, 37 in Arvada, 38 in Denver, and you're waking up with Jeff and Bill on a Wednesday. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
A pleasant, mild day on this Wednesday. Temperatures in Denver will reach the low to mid-60s, a mix of high clouds and sun, 30s tonight. Increasingly cloudy, cooler Thursday, highs lower 50s early in the day, turning colder later on with developing showers. Areas of rain and snow mix developing Thursday night, continuing into the day Friday, and cooler. 30s Thursday night, temperatures on Friday only making the 40s. There'll be accumulating snow in the higher elevations and foothills. Temperatures will remain cool, but conditions dry for the weekend. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Joan bringing up this text message. I still wonder why there's no ambulance at this event, because the only event where you have an ambulance is when the president or major candidates are speaking. I hosted 8 years of 50-plus speakers. We never had an ambulance at our event.
Not on that. And the issue being that there's not a requirement based on the university, and Charlie's people would have to pay for that externally. Right. It would be a contract they would have to pull. The university has no obligation to, and in any of these events, they don't have to have an ambulance.
What other speaker do you know that travels with an ambulance?
No,
other than the president, vice president, or maybe major political candidates running for president.
They're there at sporting events, but that's the only time that on campus they're required to be there based on a public gathering or event. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, right. I guess sporting events. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
that's
right
it.
about that. But I have hosted more speakers than probably anybody else, and never once was there an actual ambulance anywhere.
No, there wasn't.
You go down to the major parades and speeches, there's no ambulances there. It's just, So I don't think that's a conspiracy.
Again, no, and that is an example for me of those spider webs that people try to connect. That they feel there's a conclusion, and then when they see two things, then you see the shadow people on the edges of your vision, and then you're convinced the shadow people are running around. Yeah, that's kind of what I see. Yeah.
What I've experienced when it comes to violence with the left is that it's weirdo, one-off, white, wiry guys that do this.
Yes.
And that's what I experienced from behind. Yep. That's who I think killed Charlie, too. So, and all the implications of the people involved with Turning Point is just so wild. And actually, frankly, rude, I think, at this point. That the people that worked with Charlie, loved Charlie, were somehow involved is terrible. It's mean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just
Speaking of rude.
Yes. Speaking of rude.
Jason Crow calling on troops not to obey orders. What is going on here? Listen to this weirdo rando commercial that just popped up on a Tuesday.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath
To protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army.
Our Navy.
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Don't give up the ship. You can refuse illegal orders. You must refuse illegal orders. Here's George Brockler responding yesterday. By the way, George, decorated. Is he a veteran yet? No, he's still in.
No, he's still in. He's still in National
right?
Guard. Yeah, he's still in the Guard.
National Guard. So, but the guy's spent decades serving in the military.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he knows his stuff.
Reprehensible, Brockler writes. These people should be embarrassed. To call into question the chain of command of our military is unforgivable and dangerous. Hyperpartisans damaging our military for political gain. It's disgusting. For members of Congress to suggest our troops that are likely confronting illegal orders and they should disobey them is dangerous. If you, Jason Crow, know an illegal order, call it out right here. Take action. This is beneath an Army officer. Whoa. Whoa. Strong words from George Brockler. Is this beneath an Army officer, Bill?
This is the weird part is, I do believe this is outside of the boundaries. And I believe that Brockler is right, that they are playing politics with this because it is a preemptive. And here's the thing, though, is I believe it is 100% through a political lens. And I believe that if we were in a different administration, in a different situation, that we could see Republican members posting something exactly like this, that you don't need to follow these orders, military, if you're doing X, Y, and Z. And that could be something where maybe we're doing something in Ukraine, maybe we're doing something somewhere else. I don't know. But I can see other people on the other side playing politics like this as well. And where George Brockler is 110% right is the lack of a specific example. This is why, in my mind, we know this video is 110% political, because they don't call out anything. It's about necessarily feelings and stress and what you're dealing with, and there's nothing that is specifically actionable. I have seen some polls that there are members of the military that are concerned about what they're being asked to do and whether or not it's outside of certain bounds, but I haven't seen anything that gets anywhere close to the idea of them even considering refusing orders. Some that, hey, some of these actions are uncomfortable, or even things like that are even more benign, like members of the National Guard saying, we were standing around in D.C. picking up trash. I gave up my weekends and my nights and got away from the family for this. This is why I was needed in our capital at this point. That they looked at it more as a fool's errand than something that was necessary to clamp down on rampant crime. So I have seen those, and I'm not saying it is a majority of the service members in any way, shape, or form, but I've seen those sentiments expressed. So Could there be some sentiments about, I think that we're not doing the right thing? But I would guess that when we had people going into the Iraq war, when we were going to Afghanistan, there were also members of the service that were questioning. But Brockler's 110% correct that doing this preemptively to challenge command and control structure without a specific action is absolutely horrible. What would be the actions if you had any sort of an enlisted man or woman walking around the base saying, you don't got to listen to some orders you disagree with?
Well,
what the hell?
Here's what Jason Crow said yesterday. The president trampling on the Constitution. Stop politicizing our troops. Stop illegal military strikes. Stop pitting our service members against the people.
Well, see, the thing is, emotionally, and there are some things in there that I do agree that Trump is, I wouldn't say trampling on the Constitution. I do think that he is breaking some of the boundaries and rules inside of the Constitution. I think he's doing stuff that he shouldn't be. But I do think that he is using the military in a political manner in some cases. Yeah. But does that rise to the level of telling the men and women in uniform to disobey orders? No. I haven't seen anything personally that if I was God forbid, that somehow I end up in the service. God forbid we get to that location. Something's going to really bad if that happens. But if I haven't seen anything that would even cause me to say, no, I'm not doing that. That's an illegal order. And that's the problem I have is there's an assumption in this video that I don't think is proven out. I think they're playing politics with this, and I'm guessing that the audience for this video isn't military members at all. It's other people outside the military. Right. That's what they're saying, that we're standing up for this. We're telling the military they don't have to, so that someone outside the service feels better. Because I think, if we had to get down to how actual members that raise their hand and put on the uniform feel, they probably don't agree with that message in the video in any way. They may have concerns, but do they agree with what those members of Congress are telling them? I'd have a hard time believing that one.
So how many strikes have we had against cartel boats? I think we're at 8, 9.
I think it might be higher than that, but even then.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
I've got concerns about it, but even then.
I want to put this in context.
Yeah, please.
Because you didn't see calls to disobey orders when Obama ordered 540 strikes against countries we haven't declared war in. Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia. You had 540 drone strikes. Okay. Yeah. So the guy's running around saying, oh no, allow the cartels to have due process. I just didn't see the complaints taking place during those drone strikes. Text messages hot on this one. It's disgraceful, writes 8422. It could be very confusing to younger troops. That's right. Could these members of Congress be reprimanded for something like this? Well, I don't think Jason Crow's, I don't know if he's still in the military, but from my understanding is that if you served in the military or currently serving, even as a reservist, you couldn't be overtly political. And in this case, it seems like Crow is doing exactly that. By the way, we'd love to add nicknames, right, Bill? You were bringing us up.
Oh, yeah. Love that.
So add nicknames when you text in, and we'll call you that. We have Mary from Wyoming. We have Joan from Lakewood. If you want to have a funny nickname.
Yeah, you want to have a nickname. We'll put it on the text message, so we're no longer saying, from 3645, whatever it is. Almost like, if you're a gamer, it's like your gamer tag, or you've had an identity that you've created on social media. We would love to use that. So if you want to, just throw in a hashtag and give us your name. We're not going to say hashtag so-and-so, but we'll know that's what you mean based on your tagline, and we'll change it so that everybody here that is at the radio station also sees you identified by that. So we can do that as well. So we just think it'd be much more personal, because I know that, you guys are busy during the morning, and the fact you're spending any time with us is fantastic. So as you're busy and that thought hits your head, we want to give you credit. So just tell us who you are. It doesn't have to be like, Joe from Arvada, although everybody loves Joe from Arvada. It doesn't have to be the Lou from Littleton going back into old Denver radio. If you want to be Raiders Gabe, you can be Raiders Gabe. Love you, Gabe.
Jason, the Mile High Mockingbird Crow.
Hey, I like that.
1712 texting in. I just called Crow's office and told him I thought that what I thought about the commercial and what they said was horrible, totally uncalled for.
Good. It is kind of uncalled for. It is.
9588 saying this is the end result of Trump politicizing the military as we speak.
Now, while I agree that Trump is politicizing the military, I do think that these people are playing politics as well, and I'm not sure that makes it better. And when I go back to your example about Obama and the attacks, now I could be wrong, but I believe those were done under the idea of the war on terror, that we were going after terrorists, etc. And personally, I believe that's why Donald Trump had to declare the drug cartels as narco-terrorists.
Yes, correct. That's exactly right.
Then he's allowed to do this.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and while I necessarily disagree with that definition of them being narco-terrorists, I see why he's using that as the mechanism to do this. I disagree with some of the international strikes because I'm not certain they've gone through clear vetting. I'm not sold on the fact that they know exactly who these people are and they're hitting the right people. But I wasn't sold on Obama's drone strikes as well, that they always knew who they were hitting and they always were doing it in the most efficient, safest way possible, and they always got their man. So I had questions on both sides. But yeah, I question some of this as far as how politicized we are making this military, and it brings back some bad memories. I remember the Iraq War, how much fun that was, making everything political. That was great.
I disagree on the narco-terrorists. I think they are absolutely terrorists. I think they're the worst this country has had to deal with. The amount of Americans they kill far outweighs the trillions of dollars we spent in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I love the fact that Trump is targeting these narco-terrorists in my mind. Well, feel free to join the conversation about this audio, this new ad campaign that Jason Crow's a part of. Does it make you disappointed? And how political Crow is with his military experience. He loves to run out there, tell you all about it, but now he's calling on troops to disobey orders? You must disobey? Has he gone too far? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Let's talk our friends at L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. You've heard me say it before. When it comes to keeping your home comfortable, who you trust matters. That is why I recommend my friends at L&L Heating and Air Conditioning, a local family-owned company that truly cares about your comfort. I adored working with them. Our home totally comfortable. Had our AC and furnace replaced. Major upgrades. It was all affordable. They did quality work. And our home is totally comfortable. Right now, they're offering a full furnace system evaluation for just $59.95 and a complimentary second opinion if you've already got a quote from someone else. And when you install a new furnace or AC, you'll get a free programmable thermostat or carbon monoxide detector, plus no hidden charges, no trip fees, and next-day installations. Their Gold Plan maintenance keeps your system running efficiently year-round, and you'll even get 1 year free with a new furnace or AC combo. I love that L&L gives back, offering discounts for first responders, military, and seniors, and treating every customer like family. So if your home's too hot or too cold, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning because they, as they like to say, you'll be comfortable with us. BestDenverHVAC.com. That's BestDenverHVAC.com. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the that's so stuck in my head.
Me too.
Everybody talks about the theme song wherever we go. The text messages are great. We've added Brian from Littleton. He's now in there. Four
Appreciate
Corners
that.
Steve Namir.
Nice.
Namir's in there. So if you want to join the text message and for us to add a little cool nickname for you, just text in
pick your own
at 720-819-5115. We're talking Jason Crow, the Mile High Mockingbird, and others getting together to encourage sedition. Seems like it.
That's interesting. Now,
listen to this audio.
Let's explore that. Let's explore that. And the idea is what I want the audience to listen to is, are they suggesting sedition? I like that question, Jeff.
Trying to politicize the military, break up the rule and chain of command? What do you think? Listen to this.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath
To protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army.
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
George Brockler responding, all right, Jason Crow, if you know of an illegal order, call it out right here. Take action. This is beneath an Army officer. Bill, do you think they're inspiring sedition?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think they're dancing close to the line. I think they're playing more politics with it. And just to drop the grenade and walk away, because I'm going to go talk to the phone. If they did do sedition, then all I'd have to do is put on the right color hat, and then Donald Trump would pardon them. All right? Yeah, Proud Boys. I see it, Oath Keepers. Thumbs up. Yeah, I know how that works, because they were convicted of seditious conspiracy and now got a full pardon. So even if they're suggesting sedition, is it something we're worried about?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, I don't think it's right for a military member, a private, anybody at any rank going on up, that would have to take an order like we're going to target this narco-terrorist coming from Venezuela with a drone strike, and then expect that person to somehow be a constitutional law attorney figuring out whether or not it fits within the the orders of the president, or does Congress have to declare this war? And that's your job is to do what the president orders you to do. And you see this in the text messages. Here's Namir. Good morning, guys. Military all over the world is defined as executing orders. It does not matter what your opinion is. If you can't do it, don't even think of joining. Your job is to do that. I mean, Iggy, who defines what illegal orders are?
Yeah.
Look, and I understand if you're asked to shoot a toddler or a pregnant woman walking down, of course that would be illegal, right? But if you're targeting narco-terrorists, or you're going to do a drone strike in Yemen or Iran, I just don't know what the example of illegal orders they're talking about. I think George Brockler is exactly right. And in this case, all Jason Mockingbird Crow is trying to do right now is to bring distension into the ranks of the military. It's shameful, and Jason Crow, in my opinion, should lose his job over this.
Yeah, for me, it's just he's playing politics, and he's not talking to military members. He's talking to constituents and potential voters to make them feel like he is standing up for them. And I'm not certain who would define, for Iggy's question, illegal orders. I believe eventually it would have to come down to courts, only because, but again, I'm not certain because of the JAG system in the military versus the more domestic system is you would have to have someone that would refuse an order and then be charged with that refusal in order to get courts involved as far as because the determination in and of itself would be based on military command and control. They would get to decide. And then it would be after that you then would have another court case as far as adjudication. And that would be it too. Again, it would differ in small singular instances versus large troop movements as well. So
Joan from Lakewood saying the video's very disturbing. Jason Crow ran on the fact that he was military. Look, if what President Trump did on January 6th was considered an insurrection, then this is definitely an insurrection, Joan tweets. Suzanne writing, murder is an illegal order. You and no other American knows what's in those boats. Well, if murder is an illegal order, then what the military does, it's what they're trained to do, obviously is kill. So is this sedition or insubordination, says Doug. Either way, the thing to remember is that the decision of what is an unlawful order at the end resides with the military judge. A soldier can say that the order is unlawful. First, he'll be arrested and tried. Then the ultimate decision will be in the hands of the military tribunal. Yeah, you're right, Doug. Let's go to Barney in Denver. Good morning, Barney. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Hey, good morning, Barney.
Hey, guys. So real quick, just and not to offend my military brother or friends that served, and I didn't, but just because you're in the military doesn't mean rose petals come out of your butt. Damn. Because you've been in the military doesn't mean that your head's right. And the only two people I saw this video, and I didn't have the audio, I recognized Mark Kelly, the alien, and Jason Crow. That was it. I had no idea the other members were military, and that's their job out. But the fact that these turds came out and did this, it's just the whole military, if you just don't do that, and there's nothing that they can say. Well, let's talk about the boats, for instance. And I know Billy said it's not your thing, but if I'm not mistaken, don't they tell them guys in the boats, like, hey, buddy, turn around and we're going to blow you to, I mean, aren't they warned?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
hey, guys, turn around?
And they're all gun-running, drug-running boats. I mean, there's these huge boats that are moving very fast. This is not a family out there on a float trip in a dinghy.
Yeah, and I get questions about that where you started with that, Barney, the idea of is there any warning? Is there anything beforehand? Because that does kind of, change my mind a little bit as far as engagement. Is there any sort of a warning system at all? Again, that can be debated on a later date. But yeah, that's kind of one of my questions about the action as well.
Are we getting to a point in this country where no matter who gets elected, let's say Joe Biden, Republicans are going to go out there and go, troops, disobey the orders. And then Donald Trump gets elected, and the Democrats go out there and say, troops, disobey the orders. Is that good for our country where one party responds to whoever's in the office? And I don't remember Republicans doing this. Maybe they did, but the Democrats clearly doing it. Democrats saying, disobey the orders.
You're not supposed to drag the military into politics. And by the way, I voted for Bush twice, but God, when you look back at what they polled, and Cheney did, doing what he did, where was the left then? I mean, it was like every week, let's start a new war. It seemed like every month. I don't know. I just think that you got to leave the military out of the politics. And you know what? I guess go ahead, Jason Crow. I hope some of these guys listen to you because they need to be gone from the military. The military guy has to just be so neutral. And I've got a nephew that went to Annapolis, and he's a flamer, thanks to his mom, flaming liberal. And I don't know how it's working out for him. I guess he's all right, but I guarantee you he's one of those lefties that would go right along with this crap. But
Barney,
I don't know.
I have a sense, and I see the evidence out there that the Obama administration tried to really fundamentally change the military, and they did it through their appointments at the leadership level.
Well, we've got a lot of that brass in the Army that needs to be gone. There's, even though whatever Pete's done, they turned that thing into and I'm sorry, Billy, but liberalism doesn't work in law enforcement, and it doesn't work with the military. It can be, you can use it all throughout your whatever, but, and I don't mean that, I'm not poking at you, I'm just saying that when there does come a time when you have to have right and wrong. By the way, those boats, I'm not sure how fast they are, but it's pretty cool. Got a boat that's doing 70 miles an hour on the water, whatever they're doing, 50 mile an hour. Yeah, they're your used up cigarette boat or whatever they are. They're not your typical Joe Blow going fishing, deep sea fishing. It's real obvious what they are. But hey, turn around, go home, and you live. You don't turn around, and we're going to blow you out of the water. It's real simple.
Yeah, and I have a question there. Thanks for the call.
Great to hear from you.
And I got a question as to whether or not they tell them, hey, turn around or you're going to die type of a thing. And we can debate that later. And I understand where Barney is going, but I also would say that over the arc of history in America, our military more times than not has been more inclusive than general society in many cases. They have been more or less at the forefront. So the idea of it, and again, we could argue whether or not that's liberal or not. And then we had talked about whether or not Republicans have ever said anything about disobeying orders. I think there were some times that during, I don't know if it's Biden or Obama, I think it's a Biden thing, where there were things about tearing down or taking things apart at the border wall, and they were using military there, and there were some Republican representatives that were saying, you don't necessarily have to do this, you can refuse these kind of orders. They weren't, and again, I appreciate that more than this blanket video, because at least there was some specificity. I'm not, and again, I don't have the details enough to say that they actually said disobey this, X, Y, or Z, but I'm at least pointing back, and the reason I brought it up is because at least they had something. At least they could point to this. Don't do this. Where this video that we have Mockingbird Crow and the rest of the gang there sitting there, they're just talking about some amorphous potentiality. And I think that's the real difference. Even if you disagree with the Republicans saying what they may have said or the implication you can, disobey the orders, at least there was specificity, which this lacks here. This is just a political video. It's ridiculous.
Give us a call and join the conversation. We're talking Jason Crow joining other Democrats calling for the military, urging the troops to refuse illegal orders. But they never say which ones those are. And is this bringing about sedition within the military? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Jason Crow joining with other Democrats calling on the military to refuse illegal orders. You must refuse illegal orders. Doesn't define which orders are illegal, just says so. And then, Bill, you brought up when Republicans were telling the troops not to get the vaccine.
Yeah, shout out to the Lost Jockey. You texted in that question. I hadn't considered that. And that, I think, is very insightful. The idea of military members that refuse the vaccine. And that was a conversation we had at the time is, well, you signed up, you raised your hand. They vaccinated you, or they have the ability at that point to vaccinate you for anything at that point. So
are they the same? That's interesting. Let's go to Marcus in Denver. Good morning, Marcus. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Hey, Marcus.
Yeah, morning, guys. You know, military law is totally different from civilian law. So I was surprised that they said something like that, because you go under boards and everything else, and you don't want a dishonorable discharge. So I'm kind of shocked that they're trying to say civilian law is like the UMCJ. It is not.
Marcus, great point.
Marcus.
Sure appreciate it. 5881, summing it up, FJC. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
You win. That's the best one. This is CanUS.